King Jesus, King Jesus. Okay. You know, there's been a lot of comments lately as to why the president says ISIL instead of ISIS when he refers to the terrorist group that's now running through the Middle East. It's in Iraq and it's in Syria. And I mean, they're really putting on a hissy fit about this in the media, in the mainstream media, and throughout the internet. There's a buzz about it, and it's interesting that it's in the mainstream media because the mainstream media is controlled by the Jews. We all know that. NBC, ABC, CNN, CBS, and so on and so forth. And they really making the issue about the president using this word ISIL instead of ISIS. I mean, I really think they have good reason to. Let's read through some of the comments made about it. It says in the Washington Post, the White House has been discussing airstrikes in Syria. On Wednesday, Obama will give a primetime address offering further insight into what is next for the United States against the Islamic State. That is what the Post calls it, though previously we called it ISIS. In other words, Obama now has no choice but to mention Syria. Many politicians and media organizations that have chosen ISIL rather than ISIS have said they went with the former as a paean to grammar. When you translate the Arabic name for the group of insurgents into English, many argue that using the Levant, aka ISIL, to describe the region is most accurate, as the Worldview Post from June explained. Others interpret the acronym choice differently. Maureen Dowd wrote in the August 9th column, "It is a bit odd that the administration is using the Levant, given that it conjures up a colonial association from the early 20th century when Britain and France drew their maps, carving up Mesopotamia guided by economic gain rather than tribal allegiances. Unless it's a nostalgic nod to the time when puppets were more malleable and grateful for their imperial overlords." So that's what Maureen Dowd and Washington Post, all of them are saying about it. But there's some internet comments about it as well.
And I want to really touch on briefly here the coded message that Obama delivers when he says ISIL instead of ISIS. Have you guys noticed that? When Obama or anyone in his administration references ISIS, they don't say ISIS. They now say ISIL or ISIL. In one press conference after another, when referring to the Muslim terrorist supergroup ISIS, United States President Barack Obama will use the term ISIL instead of the former name ISIS or the current name Islamic State. Have you ever wondered why? I know I have. ISIL stands for the Islamic State of Iraq and Levant. I really want you to hear this because this is going to show you the heart of the leader of the United States of America and where he stands concerning the nation of Islam. Now, to us Westerners, we don't really make much of a distinction, do we? Honestly, from our perspective, it's all about the same, but how are Muslims living in the Middle East do? Just what is the Levant anyway? The geographical term Levant refers to a multi-nation region in the Middle East. It's a land bridge between Turkey to the north and Egypt to the south. If you look on a map, I have a map, in the near exact middle of the nation that comprises the Levant, guess what you can see? Here's a map, okay? You see the map, which they refer to as the Levant, the Islamic State. Now, in the middle of the Levant, of the nations that comprise the Levant, what do you see directly in the middle? The nation of Israel. That's what you see. The nation of Israel. When Barack Obama refers over and over to the Islamic State as ISIL, as ISIL, he is sending a direct message to all Muslims all over the Middle East that he personally does not recognize the nation of Israel as a sovereign nation, but as a territory.
So those were her remarks. Let's listen to this guy right here.
Emails that I received that I have to turn into video. You know, I wondered why Obama made the YouTube. I thought he did it by mistake. I was actually going to do a video on it. And we called it ISIL. And it's always been known as ISIS, terrorist group that's sitting over Iraq. I actually was going to make a video to show a stupid and stories about it. Well, what's interesting is a lot of other folks are calling it ISIL as well. But a trophy looking guy that looks like he's screwed all the time, speculating.
So that's what that blogger had to say. Let's just do this,
not ISIS. So why don't we insist on calling the ISIS type? Islam is that the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant does not call itself ISIS, nor is ISIS an acronym for its proper name. It would be ISIL, not ISIS. So why don't we insist on calling them ISIS? I do not fully understand. I will write you that at one point in their development, they may have pointed to that acronym.
So there you see there's considerable controversy about calling the terrorists in the Middle East ISIL versus ISIS. And I'm going to just remark here that everyone is so careful about how they pronounce that word, the acronym ISIL. It's spelled ISIL. I would like to pronounce the word ISIL. ISIL. That's what the word looked like to me. ISIL. Just like Israel, ISIL. And that to me is why the president uses ISIL to remind himself that the people behind these terrorists are Israel. ISIL, Israel. ISIL is Israel. ISIL is Israel.